Okay, first of all, I would like to welcome everyone for today's event. This is to celebrate International Women's Day. So we have parallel Women in Engineering Day here to celebrate women's achievement, in our engineering field. First of all, the land acknowledgement. I am joining from Broadway here in UTS. So we acknowledge the Gadigal people from Euro Nation and the traditional custodians of the country we are meeting today. We recognize their continuing connection to the land and seas and thank them for protecting this coastal line and its ecosystem since the time immemorial. We pay our respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to all the First Nations people present today. All right, so with that, again, I want to welcome everyone to this event, and it's my greatest pleasure welcoming Professor Olivia MIRZA for this our Women in Engineering Forum. First of all, I want to actually acknowledge our sponsors for today. The event is being sponsored by 4J's Group Private Limited, which was established in 1996 to provide full range of services to a variety of business and commercial premises throughout Australia. Over the years, 4J's Group has formed strong association with both positive private organizations and government departments. Currently, their customer profile consists of local and national government councils, both major and independent supermarket chains, food and beverage providers, construction companies, medical centers, hospitals, strata units, shopping centers, and retail outlets. So if you are in a need of in their specialty, we would like you to contact them for their services. And once again, many thanks for providing us this sponsorship. So all these sponsorships we are getting for the chapter will be beneficial for our future activities. So we're really grateful that you have sponsored us for this event. Now, getting back to our event. So it's with my great pleasure that I extend warm welcome to Professor Olivia MIRZA, our distinguished guest speaker for today's event. As we gather here to celebrate achievements, inspirations, and challenges of women in engineering, Professor Olivia MIRZA brings with her wealth and experience, insight, inspirations that will undoubtedly enrich our discussion and empower our community. So a little bit about Professor Olivia MIRZA. Professor Olivia MIRZA was one of the 16th Golden Jubilee Scholarship holders at University of New South Wales in 2000 from around the world. She graduated in Honours Bachelor of Civil and Environmental degree in 2002. She worked as a structural engineer for about 10 years before pursuing her academic career. Olivia is currently Associate Dean Engagement at School of Engineering, Design and Built Environment, Western Sydney University. She is also President for Engineers Australia for Sydney Division and also representative of Women in Engineering for Western Sydney region. She is the winner of 2021 Western Sydney Women Executive Award in STEM. Olivia is a strong advocate for encouraging more women and indigenous into engineering or STEM-related professions. She is also active and successful mentor for the university's Women in Science and Engineering program, Western Sydney University Science in Australia Gender and Equity Initiative Group, and also for Engineers Australia's Women in Engineering Mentoring Program. She also actively promotes the university's engineering program around regional New South Wales. She's volunteering for CSIRO education to promote STEM program to female. She's currently helping in various primary and high schools in their STEM curriculum. Once again, a heartfelt welcome to Professor Olivia MIRZA, and our deepest gratitude for gracing us with your presence today, which is invaluable insight. Together, let us inspire, innovate, and engineer a bright future for all of us. Professor MIRZA, the stage is yours to talk about My Woman Engineer Experience and Impact.
Thank you, Suji, for the introduction. So I'll try to share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. This. Now, thank you for the introduction and thank you for the acknowledgement of the country. So, yes, I would like to acknowledge the country as well, where we are all gathered around. So it's everywhere in Australia. So, so I would like to thank the past, present, and elders. Now, I was invited by Daniel, and then through Sujit is the one who Sujiwa is the one who organized this event. I would like to thank you. Yes, so a little bit like about me. So I'm currently the Associate Dean, and then I'm also the Research Team Champion for Pro Vice Chancellor Research and Enterprise and Innovation Office at Western Sydney. Not only I'm currently the president, I'm also National Congress for New South Wales for Engineer Australia. So, you know, like when they ask, you asked me to talk about like, you know, women and inspire. So I would like to tell you like, you know, on the 8th of March 2003, which was last year, I read a magazine called The Engineers. I think I'm pretty sure all of you would know The Engineers is published in the UK magazine. And I was surprised with the thing. They still publish like, why don't more women become engineers? You know, like in 2010, like, you know, around the world, it's only 10.5% women are engineers, very less. Like, you know, 10 years after, it's not increasing a lot. Like, you know, 13 years after, it's only 6% increment, which is very, very low. All right. And then in Australia, it's even lower. Australia only have around 14% of women who are engineers. So it's very, very low. Therefore, as I would like to talk to you about like how like my engineering journey is and my experience and what are the impact that I have made towards the engineering work. So the overview of my presentation is like I'm going to introduce myself, where I come from and things. Then I'm going to talk about my career path because I can show you my two career paths. Initially, I study as usual, then become an engineer. Then after that, I become an academic. So I have two career paths. And then in this particular presentation, I'm just going to do some of my interesting projects. And then when I become a more senior, what are the leadership that I have done and what are the achievements? So a little bit about myself. I come from a small country called Kuching. So it's in a Borneo island. So this is my beautiful small little town. Now we are famous for orangutan. So everybody would know what orangutan is. And then we are also famous for a very big like Nia cave. So this is the oldest and the oldest cave in Southeast Asia. Now, so when I was like 17 years old, because my town is very small, so I actually literally have to go to where my capital are, which is Kuala Lumpur, to study a technical college. So what I did is like I studied hard in a technical college, then I worked for 2 years as an engineer. But you know, like I felt like it's not enough because I just did my advanced diploma. So I decided to study again. So when I studied, only for 8 months, and I like because of my work and my previous study, I excel pretty good. And then I was the top student in the college. So what my dean did in my college is like to apply a scholarship for me in UNSW. So that is where my life started. So I was lucky to get a scholarship to study engineering in New South Wales. So this is where my life started. So what is my life is like, when I was a student engineer in my second year, I was lucky enough to work with Leighton Contractor, now it's known as CTV. And then after 2 years, before, like 6 months before I graduated, I actually got two job offer, one from Leighton Contractor and one from Australian Consulting Engineers. My passion is designing, and I always wanted to become a structural engineer. So I chose the structure also Australian Consulting Engineer. They are medium company. Worked there for 3 years, learn a lot. And then after that, I always have a plan, like what I want to do in 3 years time, what I want to do in 5 years time. After 3 years, I felt like I'm confident enough. I want to go for a better job. So I was lucky enough to go to KEYNOTE, and then I was a senior. I became a senior structural engineer, and I was in charge of like international project. This is where I had to travel a lot and then go to do different projects. And then after around 5 years, I thought like, okay, I did almost what I want to do, and I start become a little bit bored. So then I got the opportunity to study PhD. So I said like, oh, okay, why not I try see whether I can do PhD or not. I always thought like I never smart enough to do PhD. But then when I went to do PhD, my brain started, like evolve, like I can do different things. So this is where I become like, I'm always fascinated by forensic, for like how to fix when things failing. I know how to design. I got my design like for the past 10 years, but I really wanted to make my challenge myself a little bit, do forensic. Like when everything fell, what and how am I going to fix it? Therefore, after my PhD, I started to do forensic, like as a part of consultant. I besides teaching and working in the university, I'm also a forensic bridge engineer. And then currently, I'm also the president for Engineer Australia, as you know. And then I'm this year I've been elected to a higher up, which is a National Congress for New South Wales in Engineer Australia. Now, my career path. So, what I do is like, my first ever like things that I think I make impact in Australia is I actually work on this Western Sydney orbiter, which now everybody know like is M7. So like it was my first project, and I cherish it a lot because I learned a lot, because like I was the one who the only one who go to the site and then do all the site before it's been built and things. Yeah, I learned a lot from there. And then these are the Western N7 that I have helped in design and tendering process. And what are the impact that I have made is like, this is the largest largest interchange in Southern Hemisphere. So I think I'm proud of that particular project. Then when I became more senior, I got the opportunity to work in One World Trade Center in New York. Like the World Trade Center in New York was gone, and then I was asked to go. The reason I was asked to go is not because I'm a structural engineer, but because I always like to learn, and then I became obsessed with fire and concrete. So I study a lot. I do a lot of course. So my company was saying like, look, since you are, so they got the tender. So I was one of the designer in the New York Tower Center, Tower 5, and this is some of the progress that I have done. So, like what are the impact that I have made on this? Even though my impact is small in this building, but I feel like, like I went there, learned the culture of how the American works, learn the standard, learn everything, and learn culturally how they treat people, and so the impact that I make is like, like I actually contribute to the fire safety design of those structure, those tower. And then I came back to Australia. Then another job that I was like, I think like make an impact on my career is the Frankfurt, Germany, where they asked me to look at a design a high-rise building, which is known as Commerce Bank headquarters. So for those who have ever been to Frankfurt, you know, like Frankfurt, when it's summer, is very hot, but it's in the winter, it's very cold. So it's an extreme weather, cold, and hot. So would you believe it, the German, I actually learned from the Germans, like, you know, this particular building, we actually use minimum mechanical system, even though it's a high-rise building. You know, high-rise building, normally we need a lot of mechanical system. But I actually learned for the for 2 years, like how to build a green building where minimum mechanical system was used in this particular building. So this is the impact that I thought, like, yes, I made, you know, in Europe. Now, when I came back to Australia, I got the opportunity to become a lead designer for this particular building, which is the Macquarie Bank in Kings Wharf. If you ever go to Sydney, this is the building. Now, the architect, of course, always been an architect, so they want to just to make the building look beautiful, but they did not like make the building beautiful, but they did not consider other things. So luckily I learned the you know, the green building from from Germany. Then I came back and then I applied those things. So I agreed with the architect. Okay, we have this steel die grid outside the building to make it look beautiful. Not only that, but I want it to become a part of the building to make it, you know, a more sustainable building. So luckily for me, the architect said like yes. So we actually like you know, this building is how do we cool down, because you can see the whole building is glass. Australia is very hot, it can get to 50 degrees. How do we keep it cool? And then I also want that particular building to have a minimum mechanical system. So what we did is like use this die grid, we can pump water to go into this die grid during the summer to cool it down. So minimum mechanical system, it can get
Can I please request that person to mute yourself, please?
yeah, because I can't hear myself talking. Yeah, so this is how we use, like from Darling Harbour, we pump the water and then get the water cooling down the building. So what are the impacts? So, you know, like the design has like after this particular design, we actually have raised the industry standards in environmental sustainability and work functionality. So we, at that time, we achieved 6-star green rating. We were one of the first building who achieved the 6 green star rating. And then we were awarded, like, you know, like for the first building in Australia to utilize the 100% net lettable area passive, like because of the passive chilling beams and, you know, the heat rejection from the harbor. So that is what we did. And then we also like won another award, like, you know, we can actually you know, create a relationship between the green building and indoor environmental, and then also looking at how comfortable occupant is. So this is what we want. And then then when Aceh happened, like, you know, I think some of you would remember the tsunami in Aceh in Indonesia was very happens, and then it was very bad disaster. So one of the reasons why I choose KEYNOTE is because they have this pro bono project where, you know, every time there's a disaster happen in like, especially like, you know, the developing country or non-developed country, they will go and help. The group of engineers will go and help. So when my boss asked like who wants to go, and then that time I was young, not much commitment. So I raised my hand and said like, look, I want to go to Aceh, Indonesia to help this pro bono project. So what did I do? I went there, and then like this is how it looked initially. And I actually learned a lot from these people, like the village people. They don't have engineering skill, but they manage to use, you know, recycle everything that has been destroyed in the tsunami and reuse the material. Come on, guys, like, you know, we try to reuse every material, but that time those people have disaster, they have minimum money, minimum funding, and they teach me how to reuse all those material to build. So after you know, like 1.5 years, we actually rebuilt this. Even though the the houses look simple, but we provide what is the impact that I have made. So we provide clean water, sanitation, energy, and power. And one more thing, we actually create a resilient community. So I think this impact is very good because they can sustain no matter what happened, they can sustain because they know how to recycle material. And then when I became a lecturer, my first ever project is bridges. Of course, like as I told you, when I did my PhD, my passion is about bridges. So I got lucky because I know a lot of people in the industry. So my first ever project is to look at to work with Transport for New South Wales, Sydney Train, and also like Wagner's. Wagner is one of the industry partner that working closely with us. So they just asked me because my background is composite steel and concrete. So and I'm specialized in how to connect the new material to the old new structure to old structure. So they asked me to investigate on it initially to check whether like composite steel can do or not. Of course, it can be done easily. And then it took us 7 years to convince. And that time I also used a new material called Wagner composite fiber technology. So we actually try to convince the government to use that. So these are some of the students who work throughout the year working with us. And then, most of them are currently working with, like in transport, in bridges. So because of this project, and most of them got into like big company like Arrow, Multiplex, and all of them. So because of the profile that they have done. So what is the thing? So when I propose a different type of material, everybody is talking, in the industry, in the engineering world. So I was invited to write a paper about to write a report, not a paper, a report in the construction engineering Australia. Got a lot of feedback, got a lot of questions. At the end of the day, after 7 years of working in this project, try to convince the government. Finally, I don't know whether you remember or not, in 2021, the Sydney Harbour Bridge was closed for 10 days. That is because they are installing what we proposed to the government and design, and this was designed in the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So all my students were so proud of themselves, they actually impacted, made an impact. So what impact we make, we actually built, we actually changed the Sydney icon, one of the iconic structure. And then we convinced the government to do, using Wagner composite fiber in approach bridge, and then the main we use lightweight concrete. So we fulfill actually the sustainability goal of number 9 and 11. Now the second biggest project that I done is of course, I got lucky to won a 3.9 million funded project together with I think Professor Budima, which is now in UTS. So we do this project for 5 years. And then I got lucky as well. One of my PhD is also from Sri Lanka. So Diane, so she and another friend, another colleague is Christoph. So they work on this project. So we actually want to investigate the macrosynthetic fiber to input into the transfer and then see what's happening. When I have this idea, in order to prevent cracking or less maintenance, we need to use something that are more energy absorbent. So we just try and error. We were lucky enough to try and error, and then it worked for us. So again, I was like, when you do research and then the people officially invite you to the Construction Engineering Australia, there are two sides. One is people doesn't accept it, people commented badly, or people ask questions, and if you can convince them, is a good thing. So I always have confidence when get published in there. So what is the outcome for this particular project after 5 years? So as you all know, Parramatta Light Rail Stage 1 is already been built. So I think for those who follow the construction, we know that it has been built using macrosynthetic fiber, which is our design. So it's quite good. So what are the impact? So we actually get the highest score from Infrastructure Sustainability Council. Everybody want every project now they are calculating how much, how much, what is the rating. So we got the highest score. And then it aligned with the CIMIC group, the ESG framework. under like, you know, like everybody is like, you know, trying to reach the net zero future and sustainable future. So, and then what is the impact? And so Parramatta Light Rail is being built, and then it's the longest green track and the first constructed in New South Wales. So we actually make the impact on that. And then we also, it was the first light rail that using the macrosynthetic fiber instead of steel reinforcing. And one more thing is like when they take off all the existing, like, you know, rail, sleeper and thing, I make sure that we reuse all those things whenever we can. So this is the impact as well. So what are the sustainability goals that we did? We also fulfill number 9 and number 11. Now I am a leadership role, as you can see from my profile. So one of the things is that I want to encourage female indigenous people who are represented in engineering world. So one of them is like, what hit me to create this Aspire program is when I went to a talk. Actually, this girl came up. Here, her name is Miss Tamina Pitt. I went up to her and I talked to her. The thing that struck me is this is what she said. I've always been a technology geek and end up studying it. I'm disappointed that Indigenous students are underrepresented in engineering. Indigenous Australian are original engineer. Why not more of us are doing? So it hit me like, okay, we have a problem. We have Indigenous, they are original engineer, but they are not doing engineering. So this is why I created this, initiated this Aspire program. So before that, of course, before you created or initiate anything, you always have to do research. And the national average of Indigenous go into tertiary program, tertiary study is, you know, around 1%. But you can see out of that 1%, all of them are like more interested in education, society and culture. Why? Because they want to contribute back to their own own culture. However, engineering is the lowest that they want to do, which is 0.5. Is very, very unhealthy. So what I did is like I create like in 2000, because that's when I started my associate dean. So I started an Aspire program. So what Aspire program is, I want to link them. You know, like when I did a research on the Indigenous people, they normally have a family commitment. They can't afford to just study without working. So this idea came from my research, saying that, look, while they're studying, I want them to work as well. But when they work, we also want to mentor them to make sure they progress in their work and then also progress in their degree. I want them to finish their degree. So we are lucky enough. Currently, we have 20 or more now industry supporting this program. So what do? We actually actively go to the school that are with a high Indigenous number, and then encourage them, like, you know, tell them engineering is easy. It's not as hard as people say. Their perception is like, yeah, engineering is so hard. I'm not smart enough to do it. So we actually ask them to do some, you know, activity and say like, this is, you know, you have a mind on how to solve problem. That is the engineering mind. So that is what we go and do. And then currently, these are the industry partner that supported us like 2 years ago. So now it's become bigger. So we were lucky enough. And then what are the impacts? So I have successfully, like, you know, connect in that student and industry partner while they're studying. And then we signed more than 20 MOU now. 40% of our Indigenous students are currently part of the program. And then we increased our student number from 31 in 2019 to 64, practically double the size. And then the program was so well received by other schools as well. So I was lucky enough, the VC gave me 230K to actually, to support more school in this Aspire program. Now, another one is like, as you know, I'm very passionate to increase female in engineering. So
මම සත්‍ය කතා කරන්නේ
Please, can I? Okay.
නම් එක දුන්නේ කසුම්ද
Sorry, Professor Olivia Mirza. I think someone's still keeping the.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Can I continue? Or-
Yeah, please continue.
So now, like, you know, like, I'm very passionate. So we initially, before I start as an associate dean engagement, we see there's not much retention on the women. Women come here, come to our school, do 1 or 2 years, and they quit. So that's why I initiated this Woman of Wisdom. So this is to support our female in the school. So we support them mentoring, academic, career development, and also the most important thing is to retain the female student. So who are the members, including the academics, of course, the alumni, the industry partner, and current student. So these are some of the activity we do. Like, you know, when we get the first year student, we always ask them to come and introduce ourselves as an academic and introduce them to their peers, introduce them to industry partner that's supporting them. So this is what we did. And then, of course, International Women's Day is very important. We always celebrate, WOW always help to celebrate International Women's Day as well. And then, like, because I as I told you, I got lucky because I know a lot of industry partner. So I also created another program through WOW. Is like Build program. Build program is the only Western Sydney University is the only university in Australia who is working with ARUP and Sydney Opera House. What we did is every year we selected 60 students from our school to go to Sydney Opera House to study their engineering, how the engineering was built, how the construction, how the architecture. So there are 2 weeks of their time has to go there, and then they learn, like it was so fascinating, like how they learn their things, and at the end of the week they have to design a project. And then the project is different. Like last year we did the theme for the project is sustainable infrastructure. So far we got a good feedback, and this has been going on for 3 years now. And then, of course, like, you know, for students, they always need you know, us to link them up with industry partner. So for a while, one of our big event is speed networking, where we invited, like, you know, 20 to 30 industry partner to come and talk to our student. On that night, normally there will be 4 to 5, you know, position offer instantly to our student because they were so impressed with our student. And also we go to high school, we're working very closely with Engineering Australia. And then we go to high school to promote female in engineering, as you can see. And then, like, you know, the one most important thing is we celebrate feasibility and success of a woman. How do we celebrate feasibility? Like in my research group, anytime anyone submitted a paper, for example, I will go, like, we will go and celebrate, have a coffee or have a lunch, even though it hasn't been accepted yet, but we have to celebrate, like, look, it's a big success that you already submitted one paper, because writing paper for people who are in the academic, no, it's not that easy. So we celebrate those. So this is how we celebrate encourage them to do more. So what is the impact? So the student number increased from 12% to 38% from 2017 to now. And then I also currently working with like Multiplex, Ventia, Arup, and Trustbed, just to collaborate, right? We create like female position only for our female. We create, you know, female scholarship only and awards only for our female for their achievement. And then we also offer, of course, like the mentorship, which is normal. And we ask our alumni to be the key models to represent them, because this will boost up their you know, their confidence. If they see their senior are doing well, they will be driven to do well as well. So this is what WOW have impacted. Now, talking about, you know, Sydney division. So I'm the president. So I always believe when I became a president, they will ask me, what is my vision? What is my strategy? You know, like I always a believer of, like, if you create a very simple strategy and vision, you will success more. So I thought, like, because my presidency is only for 2 years, I thought 3 of these you know, vision is good enough for me to make it successful. So connectors, so we have to build a industry connectedness, of course, but I want to encourage the collaborations, like, with other community, because I see that, like, engineering Australia is very big, but then they do not collaborate each other. That is what I want to change. So I want them to collaborate together. And then, of course, like, we have to also like be aware of what are the, sector reform, climate change, diversity. This is one of the things that government is driven. So we also have to follow what the government is driven to be successful in our strategy. And STEM education, as I said, like, since I became the president, like, New South Wales is one of the best group actually to go and to look at STEM program, and then to target the minority group as well. So this is what I'm going we do well. And then one more thing is like skilled migrant engineer. This is created by me, but then because I just want to create this skilled migrant engineer. Why? As you all know, all of us are migrant. It is hard for us to find a job. So what I did is like I actually create a impactful strategy already. So I actively go out to the employer and career seeker to tell them to try to encourage the company to give opportunity for migrants engineer. So far, we have been very successful, and then we have like over 1,000 followers right now. So what is the impact? So I like for the last year, I have collaborating with Bangladesh, Pakistan High Commissioner, and also Sri Lanka Engineer Australia Chapter to increase the visibility of female and mentor in the female engineer. Increase the participation, like when we go out for the STEM education, I actually encourage not only academic, I want engineers to come and to help with the activity in the school as well. And with the skilled migrant, I can tell you that actually officially 25 of the skilled migrant were like actually go into our certain program to help them to get job. Guess what? In 2020, we actually managed to find 20% job for the skilled migrant engineer. So all of this, like living in Australia, they always like, appreciate what you do. So I was just some of the things that I have been appreciated is like I was the winner of the regional and achievement award under JG Ghana Women Creating Changes. So this is for my Aspire program. And then in 2020, so I was the first top 15 female engineer that interview to that make significant changes to the engineering profession. And I was lucky enough to be the winner of the 2021 Western Sydney Award under category of Executive Women in STEM. And then last year, I was nominated without me knowing, because I was from UNSW, so I won the 2023 of a Judy Rapper Leadership Awards. And then last year also, I was featured in Australian Financial Review that like women that make changes to Western Sydney women for engineering. So, professionally, this is what I do, but I also do some volunteering work. So as I told you, I'm very passionate about minority and underrepresented group. So I actually volunteer for CSIR education. And currently I'm volunteering for Parramatta West Public School. Why? When I am somebody like I like to read the profile of the school, and then I want to see what are the school, how the school come about, and how. So this particular, the reason why I go and to volunteer in this school is 94% of their parents are either refugee or migrant. So I thought like, yes, this is where I want to hit, like, to get like, refugee always think they are second class to everyone. So I want to make sure, these kids don't think like that, if you work hard, if you are successful, you can be successful too. So this is what I've been volunteering for this school for nearly, this is my 6 years already. And then these are them, you can see like me and my team are going there, and then always helping them with their school, with their event, with their workshop and things. So, and then this is something, my personal passion is like engineer, like I use my engineering capability to go. So this is between me and my husband. 4 years ago, we went to Zimbabwe because I read about this particular organization. It's called St. Mary seminary school, not school, like hospital. So these children are all have AIDS, and then the parents just dump them and doesn't want them. So they don't have enough, like, facility for these students. So what I did is I used my engineering capacity, and also my husband, like he's an accountant, so he used his capability. We go, and then I help them to build a hospital for them, so that they can, help the little kid as well. So this is what I did as a charity. I think that's the end. So I always give a quote that I always strongly believe in. I always say, like, nothing is impossible. What usually impossible are simple engineering problems. Believe in yourself and be confident on what you do. Then I am possible. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you. Any questions? Okay. I stop sharing. Okay. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Professor Olivia, for that colorful and flourishing, versatile, all the words I can use, versatile career you have over all those decades. Question I have is, you mentioned that because the Australia, that data shows that the women's who involved or entering into the engineering field is going down. It's around 14%. But you again discussed that it's increased in some. It's at a Western or your university, Western Sydney University,
it's only in for my university, because I don't have any data for other university. So this is my data for my university. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Olivia Mirza. And what an inspiring story. I didn't even feel the time, actually. So I think every little step counts. And what you have just discussed today is something beyond engineering, I think. And your words will, I think, resonate in our hearts because we are here actually not just to do engineering. Once we collect from the society, it's our duty to give something back.
Yes.
So I guess in that sense, and I think everybody will agree that we just witnessed a very special talk. Yes, very special talk in this engineering forum. And thank you very much for your time and your invaluable contribution to everybody in the society, and also to uplift women in engineering as a whole. And I guess I can actually see the chat is very active, thanking you with everything. Yeah, all right. And yeah, we are very glad to have you here. And thank you very much.
Yeah, just to inform anyone, if you want a volunteering or anything, you can always contact me or put me up in LinkedIn, and then I can actually, steer you to the right direction, so that like you if you want to do any volunteering. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. And like I said, it's a pleasure having you here. And I guess we are now on to the other exciting part in this event here. Now I'm going to call few very successful women engineers who have the Sri Lankan background and who are successful to discuss their stories and their views and their secrets to our audience, so that we all can learn from them and share ideas. So first I would like to invite Associate Professor KOSALA Gunawardane, who is working currently in UTS, one of my very close friends. And then I would like to invite Engineer NILMINI PANNIPITIYA, Principal Engineer, SMEC, Sydney. And then we all have been students once. And to talk about the hardships in studentship, I'm going to invite Engineer THARUSHI KALINGA, a second year PhD student in University of Wollongong. Then we have Dr. PRABHANI RANAWEERA, project engineer from Transport New South Wales. Then we have engineer HIMALI HADUNGODA, water strategist, Water New South Wales. All right, ladies, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and joining us to share your, wonderful stories and, ideas so that people who are coming after us can learn from us. Okay. Now, I have prepared some questions, and I think what I will do, yes, I'll focus some questions to one of the panelists and then move into the other ones, because having this online discussion is sort of not really easy to do, but luckily we have Zoom and everything. I guess we should be all good. Now, I'm going to ask a few questions from KOSALA first, but before that, let me talk about you first. Dr. KOSALA GUNAWARDANE is currently an associate professor in renewable energy engineering at UTS. She was an associate professor in electrical and electronic engineering at Auckland University of Technology, AUT, New Zealand, prior to joining UTS. She was also the founding director of the Center of Future Power and Energy Research at AUT. She served as the deputy program leader of offshore renewable energy systems in Blue Economic Corporate Research Centre in Australia. She has completed her undergraduate degree in electronic and telecommunication engineering from the University of Morotua in 2005. She received her PhD degree in power electronics engineering from the University of Waikato, New Zealand in 2014. She's an IEEE senior member and was the vice chair of IEEE Women in Engineering New Zealand North Chapter. Her research interests include renewable energy applications, hydrogen and fuel cells, DC microgrids, supercapacitors application, and power electronics. Okay, KOSALA, I have two questions. First, let me go through the first one. In your experience, how far we have come in inspiring females in STEM fields? Do you find any improvement if you compare that to when we were little?
All right. Thank you, Sujiva. Thanks for the kind introduction. So first of all, before I am trying to answer the question, so I should acknowledge especially my background from Sri Lanka, so where I am today now. So I should be really grateful for the free education I got from the school years and the university, and which helped me to get me here. So I'm really grateful, because this is an event that we promote the background from Sri Lanka, so which we brought to the overseas and then contribute to the society. Okay, so going back to the question, so I was a student 20 plus years ago, and in the engineering school, and where I actually felt like, it's not really welcoming to be a female engineering student. So that was my experience, because it was not something that's appreciated. It was something like what I felt is mostly like myself as a girl in just in the 20s, felt like, it's something that we chose to do, something not much appropriate for as female. So that was my feeling that time. So actually we didn't have any programs for supporting, especially even though we were the minority. So we didn't see much supportive, especially we saw the people, especially the girls in the senior batches, but there was not networking or even supportive network or role models, or it's just like we kind of treated as another person in the class, but there was one side of we being the minority, so we felt different, but it was not something that's considered 20 odd years ago. But so I think up around 2010, so when I was doing my PhD in New Zealand, so that time I remember, so it's still in most of the cases, so I think if you look at the electrical or electronics engineering, the females are still very underrepresented. So therefore, when I was doing my PhD, I remember, so like people come near me because I actually did some kind of a hands-on kind of a PhD, which I built circuits and then which I tested. And so which is not kind of a usual thing for a female to do. I remember people go past my lab, ask, how do you actually understand these things? Are they really something that females understand? So yeah, so that's, I said no, it's still it's as Professor Olivia said, it's we all do problem solving, right? So it doesn't matter like what your gender is. So I said no, it's still it's the usual things. And so I remember the university also, like, surprised to see me, and they asked me whether we can do an article about you. So that's the first time they said, okay, we should write your story in our university webpage. So that's where I realized, and even there's some respect or recognition. So female doing engineering, and which is building up. So by looking at that, and then I became an academic in 2014 in New Zealand. And so when I started my job, so I actually felt like there are programs building up to help females. So we had mentoring programs, and also we actually highlight the female role models. So especially the something which I saw over my academic career, around 10 years now. So whenever we see a girl doing engineering, so they're always the top of the class. So always you get the best student is the female engineer. So I don't know, it's because they come from their self-motivation, because they think this is something that I can excel. So that was my experience. Every time you see, so always when I go for a class first time, I see always a couple of girls, but the class is 200. You see 10 girls, but still I see these 10 girls are the best in the class, most of the cases. So that's my experience. So what I see is actually there are a lot of programs that support female engineers now. So it's going in the positive direction. So there are a lot of mentoring programs and the scholarships, and as well as we share the stories. So I've been in so many stories, like, um, in the booklets and everywhere, like telling my story. So it's kind of motivating. So, but what I see is still, as Professor Olivia said, so even across Australia and New Zealand, from my experience, is still the minority. So because the program, even though they support, the people come from the self-motivation, it's still, it's very hard to get someone motivated to do engineering, because like, I've been in panels recently, and some of the things we actually talk, it's the level that we are trying to help them, because we are approaching most girls in the high school level, but they're trying to build their personality before that. So in the primary school level, so they're just thinking, okay, this is my personality. These are the things that I am very good at. So which I want to do. I think we probably need to go one step back and then start. So I know at UTS we have programs. So we do for the primary schools, and then they talk with the girls in the primary school, so that especially like they feel, okay, so this is a job that a girl can do. So that's where I feel like, there are a lot of things being improved over the last 20 years, but still, up until today, so the females always the minority in many of the engineering disciplines, especially my area. So it's a very we only see very small number of female engineers. So we actually believe we talk about the sustainability, and then we actually think like with the sustainability and renewable energy transition. So that's where female engineers can make a huge impact.
Thank you very much, Kosala. I think it's really something that we need to think 2-3 times, because to address something, we just need to find the root cause. It's not we treat the result is something that is coming from the process. So if we want to correct something, we just need to go back to where it is starting. Now, with the interest of time, I will move to the next speaker, but if we have time, I'll come back to the next question. Now, the next person I'm going to talk with, and again, another one of my good friends, Engineer NILMINI PANNIPITIYA. Let me quickly go through her bio to introduce her to the forum. NILMINI is a distinguished EA fellow, chartered engineer, and a certified professional in ESC, holding a master's degree in water resources engineering from RMIT University, where her specialization focused on managing stormwater productively using pervious pavements. Her professional journey reflects a commitment to technical excellence and leadership, particularly in hydrology, hydraulics, and erosion and sediment control. NILMINI has been at the forefront of feasibility assessments, concept designs, tender designs, and detailed design for both greenfield and brownfield projects. Over the past 7 years of SMEC career, NILMINI has played a pivotal role as the drainage design and flooding lead for various infrastructure projects in New South Wales, notably contributing to major road projects. Her wealth of experience extends to the design and construction of diverse drainage systems, enabling her to deliver practical and effective solutions. Now, NILMINI, I also have a few questions for you, but I think I will ask the first one. What technical and soft skills a young woman engineer should master to be successful?
Thank you, Dr. Sujiva. Good afternoon, everyone. I know we all had a busy, packed day, right? So hopefully this discussion will live up to excitement. Before I begin my introduction, I'd start by highlighting this year's theme for United Nations Women, which is Invest in Women. Let's focus on extracting key insights from today's panel discussion related to this theme. Since Dr. Sujiva already shared a quick bio, I'll keep my introduction short as well. Today, I stand before you as NILMINI, a proud woman in engineering, share my journey and experiences in this remarkable field. I'm a civil engineer who graduated from University of PRABHANI and have been working in the field for about 23 years. Right now, I'm a principal engineer at SMEC. Let's go back to my university time. 23 years ago, fresh out of university and filled with passion for engineering, I began my professional journey in Sri Lanka. Enhanced my skills, gained invaluable experience in the field. However, my desire for continuous learning and growth led me to make a life-changing decision in 2005. I chose to migrate to Australia to pursue further studies. When I arrived in Australia, I enrolled in a master's program at RMIT University in Melbourne. It was challenging, yet rewarding experience as I immersed myself in a new culture and academic environment. I completed my degree and decided to make Australia my home. Today, as a principal engineer with 2 decades of consultancy experience, I reflect my journey with gratitude together with my professional achievements. I'm blessed to have a supportive family, loving husband Timothy, who works for a competitor, and our 2 wonderful children, Tivin and Bitney, who are currently navigating their high school years. Throughout my career, I've been involved in a variety of civil engineering disciplines, including, as Sujiva mentioned, hydrology, hydraulics, drainage and flooding, water sensitive urban design, erosion and sediment control design, etc. I've had an opportunity to contribute feasibility assessment, conceptual studies, tender design, and detailed design for projects on both green and brown fields. So I'm glad to mention that I've played key roles in significant projects, such as Snowy Hydro 2.0 and Sydney Metro, serving on design review panel and leading drainage and water quality initiatives. Additionally, I have been leading the above-mentioned disciplines across Australia for recroats, Transport for New South Wales, and Transport and Main Roads, Queensland. So that's the introduction. So now I will move on to Dr. Sujiva's question. So she wanted to know what technical and soft skills young woman engineers should master to be successful. Now, I strongly believe that success in engineering, specifically for women, requires a blend of expertise and strong personal qualities. It's just not about knowing technical side of things. Having good interpersonal skills is equally important. In my opinion, striking a balance between technical skills and soft skills is essential for excelling in engineering or any other field. So let me illustrate this with an example from my current project. SSTOM. It stands for Systems, Stations, Trains, Operations and Maintenance. And it is a crucial part of Western Sydney Airport project for Sydney Metro. This project oversees and manages 23 kilometers of metro line with a budget of 3.8 billion Australian dollars. I led the drainage and water quality design for the winning tender design and currently leading the detailed design phase. It is an incredibly complex project involving various disciplines like track design, channel design, dive structure designs, complex mechanical and electrical works, civil structures, and roadways, etc. Despite having set protocols, tight deadlines, and last-minute changes, we often have to deliver design packages on time. Soft skills like communication, team adaptability, problem solving, and leadership skills are essential when collaborating with diverse teams. So I consistently work to foster a friendly atmosphere within my teams and across interdisciplinary teams. Even on busy days, when I may skip breakfast or lunch, I prioritize asking friendly questions about their interests, families, and workload. I ensure they don't feel overwhelmed by offering additional support when needed. During crunch times, when our packages are due, the CAD, the BIM, and document control teams work late into the night without complaint. We operate like a family, united in our shared goal. It is crucial to celebrate every success, acknowledging the team's collaborative effort. I don't forget to provide feedback to their managers, strengthening team bonds and fostering willingness to support each other. Let's talk about the ways I have used technical strategies to succeed as a female engineer. My journey as a female engineer has been shaped by unique experiences that contribute to my success in the field. The key factor in my success is diversifying my expertise across multiple water resources disciplines, which have been a strategic choice that I set me as apart from others. In Australia, as you all know, it's common for professionals to specialize in one specific area, like flooding or drainage or water quality, whatever. So I recognize interconnected nature of these disciplines. Through experience, I learned that isolated knowledge in each discipline alone does not lead to a successful design solution. Therefore, I made a deliberate decision to acquire in-depth knowledge and relevant qualification across all these disciplines. That actually helps me to come up with the cost-effective, practical, feasible, and innovative design outcomes that attract more clients. Everyone likes cost-effective design. And I have automatically become the go-to person to resolve complex technical problems within SMEC and our sister company, PROF. My commitment to continuous learning and staying up to date on the latest software and technology achievements also set me apart from my peers. I dedicate personal time, a lot of personal time, to share the skills required for my performance, ensuring proficiency in technical aspects. Additionally, I actively participate in conferences and share insight through publications in journals and conferences, which are essential to my professional work. Even though if I'm in an industry background, I have already published 8 papers so far, so which gives me a lot of new inputs and technical things into my background. To maintain the accuracy in design outcomes is also an essential part of a consultancy job. I consistently conduct self-reviews, explore alternative methods to results verification, and first convince myself that what I have done is correct. One thing that I have observed among young engineers is their early reliance on software without a solid technical foundation. This actually leads a lack of thoroughness in checking their work, as they rely so early on the software. Without proper technical knowledge, using software can lead incorrect results, often referred as garbage in, garbage out. So these are the key things that I want young engineers to keep in mind video.
All right, thank you very much. I think the forum is getting more and more heated up with, wonderful thoughts. I guess we all can learn many things from, everyone. So I guess keep the learning hat on all the time. It's something that we need to do irrespective of our age. Of course, we are not old, but, so, yeah. Again, NILMINI, thank you very much. I will come back to you if we have time. And it was so interesting and I didn't want to disturb. So when we have time, we'll come back to the other questions. Now I'm going to ask question from engineer THARUSHI KALINGA. And I guess we all once been students and we know the pain in being students. And THARUSHI is currently a PhD student. So she has done her bachelor's, done her master's, then doing her PhD. Now, let me read her bio first. Engineer THARUSHI KALINGA is a second-year PhD student at University of Wollongong. She holds a bachelor's degree and a master's degree by research, both in electrical engineering from University of Moratuwa. She has served as a lecturer at a private university and also an electrical engineer in the public sector in Sri Lanka. At present, she's reading for her doctorate at the University of Wollongong, and her studies focus on integration of data science and machine learning techniques into electricity distribution and network estimation. Welcome, THARUSHI. And I think this question is very relevant to you. Okay. Now that you have done, many years of studying and being a student, what motivates you to pursue a challenging journey like studying for PhD, which demands a high level of perseverance?
Thank you, Dr. Sujiva, and good evening, everyone. So first of all, I should say I have never thought of pursuing a PhD. There are people who have always known what they want and have planned their lives accordingly, but I'm not one of them. So I have always made the decisions only when that is needed to be made. So if I start from the university entrance exam, I chose the physical science stream because I liked mathematics, nothing beyond that. But I must mention that I have always been the person who gives the best to what I do, so that later on I have no regrets, thinking that I could have done better. When the results came, I got to know that I was able to pursue an engineering degree. So no particular motivation in choosing engineering. Then why electrical engineering? Again, no specific reason. I actually liked mechanical engineering, maybe because my father was a mechanical engineer from the University of Montu itself. But during the first semester, where we had modules to learn from all the departments, my interest in mechanical engineering dropped. So I chose electrical engineering because I felt okay with it, but still there was no strong reason. So how did I get into studying my master's degree? While I was working in the lab with my group for our final year project, there were a few seniors in the lab carrying out their research. They were doing some human-robot interaction studies, and they involved us in their experiments. So I felt I should also try that out, like try engaging in research and see how it goes. So after completing my bachelor's, I started my master's by research, learning new things every day and coming up with new findings at the end. I actually enjoyed doing research. So as many who get into research tend to start an academic career, I also wanted to try that. So I got into lecturing at a private university. What I found there was that I do not enjoy lecturing that much. I'm not that sure why. Maybe because it was the COVID time and mostly we were to deliver the lectures online. However, as I was not that keen on continuing it, I joined the industry. And I truly like being in the industry, but I missed engaging in research. So then then I gave some thought, and I have always wanted to have some experience in a foreign land. I enjoy engaging in research and doing something practical. So why not try for a PhD? I was fully aware that it is going to be a really long journey with lots of ups and downs, but still I wanted to give it a chance. So I got an opportunity at the University of Wollongong. Right now, I'm in my second year. You may have heard that pursuing a PhD is a roller coaster ride. I totally agree with that. There are times I get so stressed out, times where I get extremely fed up, and there are also times which I enjoy so much that actually keep me going. And I'm so lucky to have got extremely supportive supervisors, which is a huge benefit as well as a huge relief because although hard work and perseverance are very important in pursuing a PhD, it is equally important to have a strong support system. they don't essentially need to give you technical support. It is a plus point if you get such feedback from them. But the most important thing is you should be given the freedom and the peace of mind to do your work at your own pace. So I'm so lucky to have all the support I need to keep myself motivated. And so if you're wondering how such an unplanned journey looks like well planned, I really don't know. My whole life has been full of taking chances and trying things out. You might think at least now I have planned ahead, but I'm afraid to say that I still don't have any concrete plans. Only things I know are that I enjoy doing research, I like working in the industry, and I cherish small wins. I have a little less than 2 more years to go in my PhD, so let's see what happens. Finally, what I have to say is that as long as you're confident that you are doing your best and you have a strong support system around you, you can reach heights which you have never imagined of even witnessing.
Thank you, Tharushi. Thank you very much. And yeah, I think not having a plan will be a good plan. Anyway, we wish you all the best for your studies, and definitely you will excel. And I guess we can see many wonderful things from your study. Now, let me bring the other panelists to our discussion. Dr. PRABHANI RANAWEERA. PRABHANI is a graduate from Asian Institute of Technology, Thailand. She also holds a PhD from University of Sydney. She's currently working as a project engineer at Transport for New South Wales as a part of the technical support team for Western, Parklands and the Central River cities. Prior to that, she worked as a structural engineer at Becca and was engaged in designing of transport infrastructure. Her research interests lie in the field of designing protective structures, innovative bridge design, and sustainable construction of bridges. PRABHANI recently won the Silver Award under Best Paper category at Engineering Convention 2023, which is organized by our chapter. Thank you, PRABHANI, for joining us today. I see, having done a PhD and working in the industry is a special thing, because some people think once you have a PhD, you just need to stay in the academia. I don't think it's true, and we have a sort of live example here. Now, my question, as a female engineer, shifting from an academic to industrial career, what are the advantages and disadvantages you see in the both fields?
First of all, thank you, Dr. Sujiva, for the kind introduction, and good evening all. So for your question, I don't think like the things that I feel like pros and cons might not be same for someone else who's having a different perspective about academia and industry. If I talk about my view and my career, when I started my PhD at University of Sydney, at the beginning, I also wanted to stay in academia, but and then I started doing different courses, do tutorials, engage with students while doing my research. But as the time passes, when doing more research and engaging with other people, I felt like because I have always been in academia, I did my A-levels, O-levels, and then did my bachelor's, and then started my PhD. I was always in the academia, never have experienced what it was like industry. So that motivates me to have a experience what is industry. So unlike others who all talked here, I kind of have a fruit salad of a journey, because my PhD was about designing a protective armor to withstand high velocity projectile impacts. And then I worked as a structural engineer at Becca doing designing work, designing from detailed design of transport infrastructure like bridges, pits and all those retaining walls and stuff. And then I moved to become a project engineer. That's a totally different role, although I'm engaged with technical services. This is a role that I've started like very recently. It's just not even 1 month. So in my career, I always want to explore new things. I think with my age, I want to explore things before settling down to one place. So if I talk about the pros that I think, in my point of view, in industry compared to academia, is that I think industry is less stressful compared to academia in Australia. Because I think in Australia, academia is very competitive. You have to have publication, you have to have citations, you have to have grants and all those things. I might be wrong. This is my point of view. But in industry, it is not a very happy fantasy land, but there are strict deadlines that you have to follow. But then again, it's a, how I say, it's some work that you are engaged, like you select some project, you work for that. If you can deliver your project on deadline, that's it. You're done with that project. And then comes another one, you engage, you do work in that project. So it goes on like that. But I think in academia, you are constantly working for something. But then again, in academia, you get the freedom, you get the chance to explore these things, you get the chance to do innovations, which you don't get that much in industry, unless you engage in a research project or something like that. So some other things that I think is, when comparing, you always have to think what are your strengths when you're deciding whether you're going for the academia or industry, because in comparison to academia, I think in industry, you need to have more soft skill, you need to have interpersonal skills and personality, as NILMINI mentioned. So those things could be really helpful if you're going to plan to have a career in industry. Other things that I could say, financial benefits are also there if you consider about that in staying in industry. That's also a part you can consider, because you all work to get something back, I guess. Yeah. Sorry.
Please continue.
Yeah, so that's the things I think that those are the pros and cons from my point of view. And yet again, I want to stress that this can be totally different from someone else's eyes.
Thank you, PRABHANI. I know it's a very wide question and people can have different perspectives. And, you know, a person, myself, I've been once in a sort of industry environment before I started my PhD. What I felt like that experience enriched me to do better in teaching, because you have, you know, once you see how things actually happening in the industry, then you know, what you need to deliver to your students. So it's always like, I guess, like you rightly said, it's the perspective that we are looking at. And I guess, let me take the last panelist, and then I guess we will have one round, time for one question round probably. Yeah. Now, so as the last panelist, I have Engineer HIMALI HADUNGODA. Thank you, HIMALI, for attending our session. Let me quickly go through your bio. HIMALI HADUNGODA is a civil engineer graduated from University of Moratuwa. HIMALI has also completed the postgraduate diploma in environmental management studies. Presently, HIMALI serves as a water strategist at Water New South Wales, Australia's largest bulk water supply authority. In this pivotal role, HIMALI contributes to better managing water resources across the state. HIMALI has over 2 decades wealth of experience in water industry as a water planning engineer and a strategist. HIMALI's professional career began as a planning engineer at the Water Supply and Drainage Board in Sri Lanka. During those formative years, she contributed to vital water infrastructure projects, learning the intricacies of water management. HIMALI's journey exemplifies commitment, expertise, and a deep-rooted love for water. HIMALI, I think, I guess, because, we all are Sri Lankans, I guess we all can relate to this question that I'm going to ask. Do you think our cultural background affects the decision on selecting an engineering career? And also, I just want to add the other part. As a successful women engineer, what advice would you give to the young engineering graduates entering to the job market?
Okay, thank you, Sujiva. And first of all, I would like to thank IESL New South Wales Chapter Chair and the committee for giving me this opportunity. Good evening, everyone. Yes, as Sujiva said, I also have that 20 plus years of wealth of experience in as an engineer, as a women engineer in water industry. Whole my career, even though I graduated as a civil engineer, my 20 plus years of career is just specialized in the area of water. Again, when I say water, it's a water planning and strategy. I never had an opportunity to see as Olivia that she has a very versatile, very the vast range of career that's seen that things build and experience that from the planning to build. But unfortunately in the water industry and especially in Australia, that career I have most of my career built up. We plan things, and when drought comes, everything is needed and quickly need to be done. When it's again couple of years drought over, so projects getting less prioritized, and those things are not happening that much as a priority. That's the nature of industry I'm in. But as you asked, Sujiva, that the cultural background that affects the engineering career, that I don't think it's a barrier or effect, because I'm, as KOSALA said, I'm so fortunate to be the engineer with the background of Sri Lankan, and studied back in Sri Lanka as a I graduated from Sri Lanka from University of Moratuwa, and I did my postgraduate diploma again from University of Moratuwa as well. So then we always have that free education facilities and encouragement there to support us to flourish and nourish as an engineer over there. So, but we have a bit of that gender gap or gender difference, that mostly that engineering is a male dominant industry, no different to water is also no different to other areas. It's a water industry also predominant male dominant. The area I am work currently, the planning and strategy area of the water industry, also again that male dominant industry. So however, that personality be built up in Sri Lanka is really helpful as to flourishing as a women engineer, successful women engineer in Australia. So I just dig into the little bit of facts in or stats in what's happening in Sri Lanka at the moment regarding engineering industry. That because when I joined 20 years back, only 2 engineering faculties was there apart from the Jaffna University, the University of PRABHANI and University of Moratuwa. Very, very competitive get into the engineering faculty, one of the engineering faculties in Sri Lanka. But I was fortunate to join as a young engineer, young undergrad in there, University of Moratuwa. And at the time, I think in my batch, it's around 13-14% of female representatives in the whole batch. But when I looked at the current data, it's last 20 years numbers increasing, and it's around more than 20% now, the data shows. Compared to the data stats that Olivia showed us, it's a 14%. And it's, I think the last 20 years, it's again went down in Australia. So Sri Lanka is not, I'm not saying it's good, but it's not doing bad. Because trend is going upwards. It's the increasing number of our young people, young women who are entering into the industry is growing. So what that means is we have done enough? No, absolutely not. We need to do more. And as the World Women's the theme that says that count her in and invest in women. Absolutely, we need to do more, and we need to attract, and we should encourage every woman engineer should encourage the younger generations to interest of the industry, and the variety of things we can do, just building things to planning, and bring that ideas and grow up those ideas that area that I am in, that we just thinking, we called ourselves as blue sky thinkers, right? We just think stuff and just try to make it happen, at least that just planning thing, make it feasible, and just try to find funding and to build things. So then that's I'm just categorize myself as a blue sky thinker. So that's how our organization calling us as well, blue sky thinkers. So then the organization which I am working is Water Industry, Water New South Wales. It is the largest organization in Australia that supplying bulk water, but it's in New South Wales that what New South Wales owns more than 40 dams. What New South Wales and what the area I'm working is, we deliver bulk water to various parties across New South Wales. The area which I explored to involved in New South Wales after I migrated as a few years of experience young engineer is really amused me, because I never experienced, even though I worked as a the water engineer in Water New South, the water engineer in National Water Supply and Drainage Board in Sri Lanka. I haven't seen that much of water policy and water management in Sri Lanka. But when I come over here, I just realized that how water policy and management is crucial. And even though Sri Lanka is a very small country and island country, well, Australia is a big island country, but we have the big island continent, and we have interstates, rivers running through. We have different rules and conditions for state to state is different. So then how we manage our rivers and the involvement in the health of river system and water available to different irrigators, environment, towns and industries is purely, it's a very, very competitive and very, very policy made decisions. So I had the opportunity to involve in those policy, reviewing those policies and making my positive contributions to those policy making. That's really opening up eyes to me, that how we can improve things back in our home country, back in Sri Lanka, because really because the country is growing, the water policy and management is vital and critical. Water is a kind of our real blood, and if we pollute our water streams, water system, it's very hard to bring it back. So that's the key message I want to those who are, if anyone's joining us today from Sri Lanka or the thinking about or involved in the water industry, that need to think about that, how we need to manage backwater in Sri Lanka. And this is a very fascinating and very interesting area to work in water. And I encourage any young engineer who is thinking of involved in the industry, that just think about what industry would you like to work in, because as a very young girl, I just really passionate about water. I always wanted to be in water. I always wanted to do a water related job. I don't know whether I'm going to be an engineer or not, but water is my thing. But my career pushed me to become an engineer because I'm good with numbers and good with maths. That's why I entered into the engineering faculty and end up in National Water Supply and Drainage Board, because I really wanted to be in the water industry. Then I picked that organization. So it's a very important to someone to pick, even though whatever degree you are getting, the working career is different. It's just degree just make setting up your personality and setting up your background knowledge. But when you goes into the industry, you learning from there. 70% of learning you are getting from when you're working in the industry, or when you hands on in the by doing stuff. So it's really important to start or find what you are passionate about. Start working on the industry which you most likely like to do something, or like to do things, change in the world or to yourself, or you're passionate about. Second one, I think I want to emphasize to our young girls or young engineers who want to flourish in their career, that I think the Tharushi make that is very clearly, that don't make that very rigid goals in your life or in your career. Make them flexible. You need to have goals, you need to have dreams, but make them flexible. And with having that flexible goals and flexible dreams, I would say you can go and you can achieve what you like in a flexible way and clear mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Himali. I think I actually can feel your passion for water even from this little discussion, and I guess we just need to follow our passion, whether it in learning or doing something. Now, I guess we can, I guess, spend about say 8 minutes. We probably will be enough for one question, I guess. And I'm going to throw this. I think it's very crucial to discuss in this women forum here. And that question is to KOSALA. When we organize women and engineering forums, mostly it is stereotype as a female-only event. Okay. If we want a gender diversity, we have to join male in these discussions. And I think we have male in this discussion. So do you have any advice for us to include more male in the gender diversity discussions?
Hey, thanks, Sujiba, for the question. I think it's a very, how do I say, it's very, so there are a lot of sides to this question. So I actually been involved in moderating so many women in engineering, this kind of panel sessions. So from my experience, so one thing that I really notice, it's the language we advertise. So because most of the cases, our titles say something women in STEM, women in engineering, or women. So it starts with women. So then it gives kind of unconscious bias saying it's not for us, it's only for women. So that's where we lose the half of the participation. So it does, I think it's much on the language, because what we're talking is to diversify the workforce. So I think it's sometimes the language and the theme, because if we can make it more kind of networking and so how we collaborate in teams and different perspective on the ideas or something, so that's where it gets like we lose the audience, because even though we talk about the female in engineering, sometimes we cannot achieve it as a group of female. So we want the support even in our work or university, wherever it is. So we need that supportive culture. So in order to build that, so we want the participation of female and male both sides. So the other thing, it's actually the culture also. So if we see any male allies in our organizations who support female, so that makes a huge difference, especially in our managerial structures. So that's what I see from my experience. Sometimes if my head of department or if my head of school or dean, if they have this inclusive culture, so where we should promote the diversity, so it will mix up to the whole culture. So therefore, it's really important to have that kind of inclusive culture and the management which sees the importance of it. And the other thing, so most female the committees I've been with and engaged with. So it's always, so we only see the females talking about their side. So we still need to have some males say how they feel about having females in their teams and seen in their company or in the university. So I think we need to see that other side of the view. So it's so what I see is over the years. So now, so whenever there's a panel going on, especially in the technical topics, so always in my work, I'm the one who's already all the time been invited, because in my work, I'm the only female in my department. So they said, okay, we want a female to see their perspective of this topic. So likewise, if we can include the male views on the diversity, I think we can make it more attractive. So that's my view.
Yeah, I think I think we brought this discussion to a level where we probably we can probe it a bit more and get some improvements done probably for the next year's one. Anyway, with the interest of time, I'm so sorry that we have to wrap it up. But again, thank you very much, ladies, for sharing your experience and your ideas and everything. And I think it's a very successful panel discussion. Even though we have it as online thing, I feel like it's like we all are just sitting and continuing this discussion. Now, again, I just want to now bring my committee member Kasun to deliver the vote of thanks. Before that, I want to thank Dhammika and our committee for giving me this opportunity to host this event. And it was a pleasure. And also, it was a pleasure to listen to Professor Olivia MIRZA. And again, a really inspiring story. And let me thank everyone and also bring Kasun to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thanks, Dr. Sujiva. I think you can hear me.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the IESL NSW Chapter, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who made today's event called Women in Engineering Day a success. Firstly, a huge thank you to our keynote speaker, Professor Olivia MIRZA, and esteemed panelists. Your willingness to share your valuable insights and expertise was truly inspiring and insightful. And I do believe that we appreciate the thoughtful and engaging conversation you had. I think that led to important discussions and provided a wealth of information for our audience. In this sense, we are confident that the knowledge you shared will be instrumental in understanding the impact of women in engineering fields. Thanks again, everyone. Then I would also like to extend our gratitude to the moderator, Dr. Sujiva De Silva, for your skillful guidance throughout the discussion, your ability to navigate the conversation, ask insightful questions, and keep everyone engaged made the panel truly exceptional. Thanks, Dr. Sujiva. Again, talking about the sponsorships, again, a big thanks to the sponsor of the event, 4Js, the group providing integrated facility management services around the country. And we really appreciate your support to make the event even more successful. Heartfelt thank you to all of you, the attendees, for joining us today, spending your precious time, active participation, and valuable contributions during the session. I believe that they were influential in making this an interactive experience for everyone. At last but not least, I would like to thank the chairman of the IESL NSW Chapter, Engineer Dhammika Gunawaradane, for his commitment to make this event come true. I personally know him, that how hard he worked with his team for today's event. As Professor Olivia said, the women representation is a bit low in Australia. We all know that the situation is same for the IESL NSW Chapter. So I would like to invite all the ladies here to be part of the IESL NSW Chapter, especially joining committee for better representation of ladies. And that's all. That's it. Now we would like to conclude today's event, and Thank you once again to everyone involved. Hope to see you all next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.